You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I'm back. Rudrance for our Black and White Sports 2. Well, we're going to talk about the Michigan State-Michigan situation and an absolutely ludicrous statement that has been put out by a player we don't know from MSU. An attorney has put out a statement, and it's absolutely absurd. It's just dumb as rocks. I don't understand. He makes a correlation between him going to MSU back in the day and his girlfriend and this incident, and it makes no sense, and I don't know how 20-something years later one can have anything to do with the other. It makes no sense, but this attorney is blaming a Michigan player for the incident where now 8 MSU players have been suspended, and one of the Michigan players is looking into filing criminal charges, and Jim Harbaugh, who is furious, rightfully so, has said that this is going to play out through a legal process now, that they expect some kind of charges to come out against multiple, we don't know yet, MSU players, of course, after that incident in the tunnel. Let's get to this. This is ridiculous. Outkick. Attorney claims Michigan player is responsible for tunnel beatdown. Okay. Look, let's say a Michigan player picked a fight here. So we're going to say it's okay for 8, 10, however many MSU players to just commence to beating down one Michigan player. Is that what we're going to say here? And we still don't know that a Michigan player started this, okay? Keep that in mind. In fact, as of right now, that's the first we've heard of it, okay? So I would take this with a very, very big grain of salt because it's coming from an MSU attorney for one of their players that, is obviously trying to spin the narrative on behalf of his client. Attorney Dave Diamond released an unreal statement claiming a Michigan player started the tunnel attack against Michigan State. Multiple Michigan State players are suspended after allegedly beat 2 Michigan players following a loss in Ann Arbor. Now Dave Diamond is attempting to spin the narrative and place blame on one of the Michigan players and Jim Harbaugh. Okay. Quote, the media has taken the bait from a coach and a master victim and his house at the moon. We have learned that the UM player started the altercation. There is no video evidence of that whatsoever. There's video evidence to the contrary, but there's no video evidence to that. Eyewitnesses have described it as charging with his helmet and throwing a punch. Diamond said in a release statement claiming his unnamed client is apparently the true victim. Okay. The statement also claims that, quote, an investigation yields that finding that one of the Michigan players, quote, engaged with MSU players. The name of the player Diamond is representing isn't known at this time, according to the Detroit Free Press. You can read the full statement below. It's something to behold. Well, let's just do it. And let's get this to load in. It goes on what we just said. Let's see if I can blow this up. Okay. The media has taken the bait from a coach, master victim, and his house at the moon. We've learned that a UM player started the altercation. Eyewitnesses have described it as charging with his helmet and throwing a punch. Said attorney David D. Diamond. He continued, quote, the justice system is designed for impartiality. The repeated, quote, held to the victim song and dance does not contribute to the fact-finding mission. Where were the screams from Ann Arbor to criminally charge Coach Howard with an assault or Devin Bush with felony vandalism? The silence was palpitating. The hypocrisy is painful. While we acknowledge wrongdoing by all parties, this is not an incident that warrants criminal charges being filed. We have seen similar behavior and even worse on the gridiron, and suddenly, because it happens in a tunnel, known for its incompetent security and poor post-game management, there are calls for criminal charges. My client is a young man who responded to the situation before him. The attorney continued to acknowledge that a relative of a Michigan player jumped over and through security to approach and confront an MSU player. Diamond continued, why were there UM players allowed in the tunnel? And rather than criticize an MSU employee for not engaging a 6'6" giant, we must ask ourselves about the Michigan security in the tunnel. I personally know about the moral superiority claims as I was a student of MSU. Of course you were. In 1995, when my then girlfriend had a large cup of phlegm, and saliva tossed at her by a UM basketball player. Despite calls and letters, UM did absolutely nothing. Given the history of this rivalry and the recent discarded motto of winning with class, this case does not warrant a criminal filing. Speaking with the detective investigating the case, I am comforted by his impartiality. Well, the detective should be impartial. That statement is ludicrous. This has zero to do with your girlfriend and some kind of phlegm incident back in the day. That's really strange, man. I mean, I probably wouldn't have told that story in your letter because it makes you look terrible, frankly. That just makes no sense. I mean, something that happened in 1995 and you're bringing it up today? Stop it. Absolutely stop it. This is David Hookstead over at Outkick, by the way. It's beyond embarrassing. It's almost certainly won't help any of the Michigan State players being investigated by police. I agree. It kind of makes them look worse. I mean, there's something completely out of touch about that letter from that attorney. Diamond claims witnesses say a Michigan player started the melee. If that's true, where's the film footage? That's exactly what I just said. The entire area was covered by cameras. That's why we have so much footage of MSU players beating the living hell out of two Michigan players. One Michigan State player is literally on video using his helmet as a weapon. For the sake of argument, let's believe the Michigan player threw the first blow. At what point does it stop being self-defense and start being a beatdown? In other words, it's not like a couple of guys just laid a couple of hits in on a Michigan player to stop a Michigan player from being aggressive. No, this came an all-out beatdown by multiple players. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure attacking somebody 10-1 isn't self-defense. Absolutely agree. We'll have to see if Diamond's strategy worked, but right now it looks like a disastrous statement. Yeah, it's a terrible-looking statement. It's absolutely horrible. I can't believe that an attorney put this statement out. I mean, it's absurd. Again, that's the big thing. If there was video of a Michigan player starting it, we would have seen that video by now. We've seen all the other videos, and they're really bad. We don't know what player he is representing, but Jacob Windmon, I believe is his name, the MSU player, has got a potential NFL career that's going to be floating around out there, okay? So you got to wonder if he's got an attorney, if there's starting to be a sort of let's spin the narrative to put this back on Michigan in hopes of helping the NFL career. And I believe it's Gemon Green of Michigan. He's talking about they want to press this to the full extent of the law towards the Michigan players that beat them down, and I don't blame them. Jim Harbaugh wants this punished in a court of law, suspensions aside. I did hear one thing. I've been pretty hard on Mel Tucker. I did hear something a few days ago on a podcast that I listened to, somebody that knows that program pretty well, Mel Tucker, and said that what those players did is absolutely not the kind of thing that Mel Tucker would ever condone. Now, they might have been trying to cover for Mel Tucker, but evidently, he was pretty angry and bent out of shape over what his players did. So, I don't know. I still say at the end of the day, you're the coach. You're sort of the CEO of your college team, And look, that's what these guys are. They're CEOs. These are massive, massive programs where a lot of money is involved. It's a business, right? They can call it university all they want, but it's a business when you're talking about the kind of money that floats around in college football. NFL light, let's put it that way. Tell me what you think, black and white sports fans. That's a god-awful statement. Unbelievable. Peace, I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.